Hey everybody, welcome to the Horimiya panel. It's been a while since we've come here on the channel with another panel, and what a way to kick things off. Ivan, you have anything to say? Introduce yourself?
It's been a while, guys, so we're sorry for this long hiatus, but as you said, we're back, and we're back with a massive bang. So, I mean, you can't tell I'm kind of nervous right now, so my speeches are going to be a little bit off, but yeah, we're just happy to be back, and we have an amazing cast of people to talk to today. So, oh man, this could go better.
No worries. Oh, hey, look, we just stopped in. Hello,
Emily.
How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
I'm
just
great.
in time.
Sorry I'm late. Oh my gosh, it's been a mess with my internet. Oof.
No problem.
Good to see everybody. How you doing?
No problem. Actually, go ahead and introduce yourself since you just popped in.
Yeah. Are we like going now?
Yeah.
I'm Emily Fajardo. I'm the voice of Sota.
All right, Beshel, you go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Belshpur Isape, and I'm the voice of Kakaru Sengoku in Horimiya.
Oh, that's me. Hello, everyone. I'm Ali Mims, and I play Miki.
Hi, everybody. Sean Gann, and I was the assistant director and director on a lot of these shows. So, yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome to have you all here. It's really exciting.
Very.
Yes, thank you for having us.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
No
a
problem.
lot of fun right now.
Thank you so much for taking time to do this with us. We're a huge honor, really.
Yeah, super excited.
Happy to be here. Thank you.
Sorry, something happened right now. Don't worry about it.
Oh my God.
All right. Let's see. If you guys want, like, first, how are you all doing? I feel like it's like, how long has it been since any of you communicated with each other?
Face to face, it's been a while.
Yeah, face to face, I guess, a while, but I keep up with everybody on the screen, actually. Emily is actually my assistant director right now for How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. She has her own show, which is awesome, too.
Nice.
And Allie and I have been friends through theater, for a while now. So we keep up. And Belle's a new friend of mine, but I like following Belle's exploits. Belle's a good guy.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
That's really awesome. That's cool to hear that you guys are still talking with each other even after the show already ended. Like, that's really cool.
Absolutely.
Of course.
And if you guys want, we could go ahead and get underway with the first question for you guys.
Sure.
We got ourselves. What has been your favorite scene or episode to record for the show, and why?
Oh my God, that's a hard one to really. Oh God. Okay, if we could be a little flexible with this,
of course.
I can't say there's like exclusively one scene for me. It's personally like multiple scenes that pretty much have like the same things in common. Essentially, it's when Sengoku is with the rest of the student council, whether it's with Remy or with Sakura, or the late addition to the series, Yanagi, who becomes everyone's favorite character. Like the moment he's introduced. Oh my God, he is such a sweetheart. But like, yeah, every time Sengoku is with the student council, like you could really feel that outside of the professionalism, they are like genuinely good friends. Like they always have like this really organic chemistry with each other. It's something that's really beautiful, and it's something that I think a lot of kids would either relate to or just outright envy these characters having, because sometimes when if you're in like the student council and you're in a higher position of power, you probably don't even have enough time to really be friends with any of the people in your group. So seeing them not only have like a position of power in the school, but also just, hanging out casually, just, conversing with each other, having gags of their own, just, just overall having a blast knowing each other. It was a chance to really get to know the subtler sides of both Sengoku and his crew. Like, they're not just a posse, they're pretty much family to him.
Yeah, I can see that. Interesting. You want to say something, Evan?
No, I was just gonna say, like, to jump off that point, like when you were just mentioning how, like, when you're kind of ahead of a student body, you have many friends. I thought it was really beautifully done. How, he's student body, but like he showed like he still has a lot of time to be a group of friends and then be able to manage those responsibilities of like being head of the council, but still like showing a more serious side in the very beginning when we first got to Son Goku, but and a more goofy side at the very end. How he was traumatized for Izumi just punched the hell out of him in the very first episode, and it's just like that was one of the best scenes I've ever seen because it was like he came serious. Not that was like different personality change, but it was so fun to watch. So it's like I just love how you just mentioned it, but how it's like so well balanced that is, and that's one of the many things I do love about this show. How it's just like it really tackles like world high school stuff, like real world things, but it's such a beautifully in a beautifully paced out way that, like you said before, how so many people can kind of connect to that. And because of that, Son Goku's definitely kind of grew on me as I watched the series. It's like I really want to see more, and I'm glad he kind of a somewhat arc in the later episodes with the pink hair girl. Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
Remy.
Remy.
Yeah.
I love that part. I love that because it's like we're seeing a more deeper side. The character development was absolutely great. But yeah,
Definitely. Allie, what about you?
I loved the first episode I was in. I think it was episode 10. I have that scene where I'm like shopping at the mall. And I'm with Aneri. Am I saying her name correctly? Anaris, thank you so much. I've never met her in person. We're just Twitter friends, but she played Yuki, my little sister, and she was just so funny in that scene, and it was just so fun to embarrass her like as an older sister. That scene was just hilarious to me, and the animation too. Like there are silly parts in the show, but I feel like that was one of the silliest scenes. The animation was just so ridiculous, so over the top, and I'm just embarrassing the crap out of her. And it was so fun. And I still even watching back the episodes, I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole show.
That's awesome. Emily, Emily, what about you?
I have two. For me, I think my favorite line I got to say was in the Christmas episode. I got to yell, "All I want for Christmas is you, bro!" And that's my favorite line. And
that was I love that part.
and then my my other favorite scene was when Sota talks to Miyamura about he and Hori being together, and they have that little heart to heart where Miyamura hugs him and says, he says that she is still Sota's sister, right? And at the end of the day, they're still family, and I love that scene. It's such a sweet one, and Alejandro does so well with that scene.
That was a really good. I know exactly that scene you're talking about.
Yeah.
I was like, that was a sweet one. I really like that scene.
It was beautiful. Like I was close to tearing up. It was that emotional. I loved it.
I love that scene too. Yeah. He does so well. It's so fun to. I don't remember if I got to play off him in that scene, but yeah, it came together so well.
Sean, what about you?
Well, just kind of talking back on what Emily was doing there with that Christmas sequence, the whole bro thing. We when she and I were putting that together, there's already a script in place, and we were like, oh man, this bro thing is really going. I really love. We had done a previous show called Prince of Stride Alternative, where we actually had a bro-isode where everybody would say like, it's brotacular. Oh, come on, bro, cool, let's go do this, bro. It's like it's a really famous internal show that we have shared amongst us. So for her to come in there and be like, bro, all I want for Christmas is you, bro. And Bill Butts in that sequence as Yosuke was freaking hilarious too. How he was just like, come back, I love you. So that really was one of my favorite bits right there, just working with the two of them. My overall sort of favorite through line with a lot of these characters is getting their kind of off/freaky side presented. you know, for Hori, like when you kind of discover she likes a little bit of abuse, and
Yes.
some of the more kind of, she just kind of catches you off guard. That stuff really was fun to me, and seeing kind of Marissa go through the cycle of going through that, and then following it up with Alejandro going, what is going on? I can't believe this. What is happening? What? And then having to show that to like my wife afterwards, and she's like, "Wait, what's happening? They're high school. They're innocent. What's happening? Like, I'm scared. What is happening to these people?" And I just that, you know, I have a devilish side, so that really tickles me when stuff like that happens, and that makes it fun for me. And not too many people might know this, but I did slip in there. You know, I got to play Tanihara's brother Yoji in the one episode where he gets sick and he's watching the screen, getting out of the way, and I'm like tackling and wrestling with him. So, you know, I try to sneak into my own products occasionally.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So cool. I didn't even realize. I like remember that exactly. Okay.
Yeah, totally to the end. Yeah, when he's sitting there watching Miyamura on screen for like I don't know what the exact sequence was where he was trying to catch something, but he was sick and his brother was being a real jerk about it.
Yeah. What about you, Ivan?
I like what he just mentioned about the whole, like, you know, Hori wanted more abuse. That I've always said that this show has quite a few like WTF moments, and that was one of them. But that was probably the best WTF moment, because you was like, "What are you, stupid B?" I'm like, "Whoa!" And the way I was just like, that caught me off guard, and then the way he was just came into the classroom and just swearing, like saying, you know, the S word and stuff like that. I'm like, "What's going on here?" And then he just went back to being embarrassed again. That was hands down probably my favorite episode, because it was just so random. It's just like, what in the what's going on? Is this real? That was probably, I laughed to this day watching that scene, because it was just so in your face, but I loved it. I loved every second of it.
Yeah, definitely.
They do set up the little bit of kind of like you know, alternate side to these sort of things, like because their teacher that Gabe Kunda played, Yasuda, in the first episode, he's all very flirty with the young girls, and like every time they bring him back, he's kind of like, "Why do I want to hang out with you guys? I want to hang out with the girls." And it's just
That's so weird. He was like,
weird, because Japan has that weird humor, right?
He's like, "I love flat-chested girls," or something
Yeah.
like that.
Like, bro, what? I'm sorry, what?
I forgot about that for a second.
Yeah, and that's like the first episode too.
Yeah, right away.
Like, what have I signed up
It
for?
set the tone. It set the tone.
It really did. It absolutely did. Looking back at it, I think one of my favorite scenes was when Tanihara, Miyamura's like kind of like bully, I guess you could say, from middle school, when he comes back into the picture, and then eventually it's like he realizing Miyamura is just he's trying to move on. He's like in high school, he's trying to move on from the past, but he's still living in the past. And that's when he finally got the courage to apologize that it was actually his wrongdoing. And like, it was a really touching moment. Like, I really connected with that when I saw all that. And even with Miyamura's character, like it was really good storytelling on that episode. Like everything, I really tripped out on it. It was a really good episode. I really like that one.
Voiced by Kiba Walker, by the way. Very very fun performer,
great.
which I've known for a few years too. And that offered one of the real beautiful surreal moments in the story too, which is with the rabbits and him being stuck in that closet / kind of cage setting where he's trying to get over his own psyche over it. I really love that sequence too.
Yeah, same. It was really good storytelling right there. Like whenever it gets to moments like that, and like the colors and everything, like it really dives in depth with their emotions and what they're going through. And I thought that was really good for the anime as well. Something really different too.
Yeah.
But
I will. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I was gonna say something else.
No, I was just gonna say, like, that's just one of the main things I love about the show. It's just the character development. It's just like it's absolutely beautiful. Like from how Izumi just comes from like super emo to like, you know, how he describes at the very end, like how you open your heart and stuff like that for Hori. And like, it's all beautiful. It's all organic. It's just like you know, it's anime that doesn't have to be like Dragon Ball Z levels of stuff, something like this, but just absolutely. And now that's what I love about it, because it's like it's organic, it's natural, it's like everyday human thing, but it's still beautiful, and like it's amazing, and I think it was so pulled out very well. And like he said, like with the whole trying to about the rabbit thing, like he didn't feed the rabbits, they died, and then you know he's kind of putting it on Izumi, and he sees Izumi's kind of moving on. He went from emo to being more happy. It's like, you know what, if he did this, I got to do it too, and that's beautiful, and that's what I think everyone should take away from it. That's why you guys do such a great job trying to be like very relatable to the characters as well as to the audience as well, and that stays with me. That really does, more than a lot of other things I've seen in shows. So I highly applaud for that.
Thank you.
All right, next question we got ourselves here. If you could be best friends with any character in the show, who would it be?
Love that one.
That's a good one. I'd be friends with Kono because she bakes. and
Yes.
Celeste does bake in real life and is really good, and so I just love that character, and she was like so loyal and just a good person, you know. I loved watching her story. Every time her story came back, I was always like leaning in, and she made me cry. I mean, it was just so. She deserves better.
Absolutely. Oh
yes.
Yes. I hope she got better after high school. That's what I think. I'm like, these boys aren't good enough for you, but you get to high school or to college, you're gonna be great.
Yo, your student council fam's always got your back, girl. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need that dummy Toru.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he wants. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it took him a long time to even realize that he had feelings for Yuki. So it was like, and even then, like most of his other friends, like the guys, they straight up thought that he was dating her too. It was like, huh? Yeah, I remember that scene.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, now out of all the comedic scenes, that one's definitely one of my favorite ones by far.
Yeah.
The Infinite Has. But if I were to pick anyone who I'd want to be best friends with, I'd probably say Miyamura. He is such a sweetheart at his core, and
He is.
the interesting thing is, like, if we're going back to like the previous question to kind of add on to it, it's like one of my favorite things about Miyamura's character is that you could tell, and the show really elaborates on it, that he has his own like darker thoughts and his own regrets, his own darker thoughts, his own inner demons, if you will, that he's been like confronting throughout the series. And through knowing Hori, he's like slowly gotten to like accept himself, and like how he's not perfect. He might not be the person that everyone wants him to be, but because he's loving himself, he's becoming the person that he can be the most proud of. And in turn, it can be someone that she can be the most proud of, because he's being able to really find the beauty in himself as well as the world around him. It really resonated with me, because the scene with him and Toru where they were on the rooftop and Toru straight up said to him, like, it's okay. It's like, you're weird, but it's okay that you're weird. I think a lot of people really would have wanted to hear that. Like,
absolutely,
it's okay to be weird and different. And when Miyamura said, like, I'll be fine, that hit me at my core. Like, Miyamura, he's a spirit animal for real. Like, he is someone who needs to be protected.
Right. I agree.
He's such a good boy, though. Like, even though he beats my boy up a lot, he basically, oh god, isn't that funny? Like,
it is.
Like, he basically bullies. You know, he's pretty much bullying the kid that his girlfriend used to bully back in the good old days.
I didn't think about that until now.
That's true.
Yeah, I didn't forget that. Episode 2, it was elaborated. Yeah, Hori wasn't the best person back then either. Sengoku had to blackmail her.
Yeah,
That's pretty hilarious. I didn't think of that.
that's funny.
Oh man, God, that flashback scene has me dying every time.
Emily, what about you?
You know what I'm gonna say. I mean, I have to go with my bro. I have to have my bro's back. Like,
Absolutely. I'm
my
with
bro
you.
behind. It has to be Miyamura.
I'm behind you with that.
Gotcha.
I'm behind you with that. All I want for Christmas is you, bro. I love
Yeah, no, but for a lot of the
I
same
love it.
reasons Belle said too. Just that, I mean, he's just a very sweet, earnest guy, and we all need a friend like that. We all need
Absolutely.
somebody who keeps it
Definitely.
fun.
Oh, is that me
Uh,
now?
Yes, Sean, if you want.
If I were in high school with these kids, I'd be best friends with Shindo just because he seems super energetic, straight to the point. You know, he recognizes early on, you know, what makes Miyamura great. And he's very observant in seeing how Tanihara behaves. And he seems like a lot of fun. He's a bit of an idiot, which I love. But if, you know, but I also want to, if I were going to have somebody that's like Drew, it'd be Kyosuke because he and I could hang out.
Nice.
Go have a drink, you know, hang out, no, whatever, you know, eat a lot of food, figure out why his daughter is so embarrassed by him, that sort of thing.
Oh man,
that guy, Hori's father. Oh my god.
Okay, is best boy though. Let's not lie here.
I can't stress enough how badly it's just. I just had my head down watching this guy. It's just the way he was just so rubby dubby with the Izumi. I'm just like, oh, stop, please.
So great.
It's so weird. And the last episode, like, don't blame it, Dad. I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm
part of that weird kind of Japanese humor, that cultural difference where you know, bath time is for everybody. So I can joke about taking you to the bathroom and we can hang out and have a conversation while you get cleaned up. You know, that's what how you doing?
I did absolutely think it was hilarious, and I actually kind of liked it how much Hori's family just completely fell in love with him. Like they got attached to him so like immediately.
Yeah,
it was like so good. For me, I'm stuck on Miyamura or Kono. I'm stuck on both of them. I feel like I relate a lot with Miyamura, high school wise and even middle school wise as well. I relate with that a lot, and then Kono, she's such a sweet girl. Like she's such a sweet girl. Like 100% how you guys pointed out that like she just deserves better, you know. And like I would be like the friend there to comfort her and like just try to be there for her, you know. Like I'm stuck on both of them. It's so hard to decide. Ivan, what about you?
I guess for me personally, because I was gonna say Izumi as well, because I also relate to him on that level. But if I had to pick one more, I'd have to say Sakura because, well, you know, I'm just like I kind of understand her a bit too. Like, you know, I wish she had more screen time, but it's just like there was something about her that I just felt like when she was crying at the end, like when that whole triangle thing was developed and that kind of that love triangle eventually vanished because it was like, you know, he what's his face? I'm so bad with names, so please excuse me.
Ishikawa.
Toru, yeah, Ishikawa, you know, went with when the other girl. It was like she was just so broken down. It was just like I can't feel bad because I had a similar thing like that too. Just feel like to be that shy and to I really connected with her with that too. So I have to say Sakura. You know, I wish she had so much better because she was also she was a sweetheart. You know, she wasn't just someone from the council. Like she's very capable of loving. Like she also has a shy side, and I just love that so much. I wish so much for the better for her. I wish she had, you know, I just wish there was so much better for her, like I just said. But yeah, Sakura for me.
Fun fact about that breakdown sequence, that's one I directed Celeste in, and she had to come into the studio. So the studio as it is right now, we're all remoting, doing virtual stuff like we have right here, but sometimes we bring actors to the studio and there's nobody there. There's just somebody to let you in. And she goes into this room and she and I are having a conversation about what's going to happen in the scene, what she needs to do. And she, you know, of course, Celeste is a very, very good performer. and Celeste gives everything. And so she has this major breakdown. She's crying. You see how long that scene kind of goes. And then I'm like, oh man, that was awesome. That's great. Okay, let's do it again. And it's just like Celeste immediately afterwards, like posts some like Instagram shot of her. It's like, well, just bawling, just like, just a wreck, you know. And
That's
I know some performers can get through that and cry and then look, you know, bright as day afterwards. But Celeste and Allie are, man, they cry at the drop of a hat. They can just tears flow and get the mess and own it. It's great.
It's convenient when it's convenient, I guess, but there's a lot of times where crying isn't convenient. It's like, now I can finally get paid for it. Usually I'm just crying alone for free.
Or yelling at somebody, going, I'm trying to argue a point and I've got a good point, but I can't stop crying and I need a good point.
Yeah.
Get out of my head, Sean.
All right, let's see. I got third question here. If Horimiya was a musical, which characters would have the best duet?
Oh my gosh.
I want to be biased here and say Sengoku and Remy because
I was about to say that.
They really do have like that fairy tale vibe going for them. It feels Disney-esque. It was meant to be. Like, let's be honest.
I could see that. I could absolutely see that.
Yeah. This question was actually brought up, and I actually did say those two kind of have a Disney vibe about them because there was just something about it. Like I could see these two do a Disney number, and it would fit perfectly. So So
very Frozen.
Yes.
I mean, Frozen in
Each
terms of
other's
the quality, but in terms of the romance, though, that's a different story.
Yeah. I only mean the quality of the
independent woman who
performance.
don't need no man. That was the point of that movie. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
I want to see like Yuki and Ishikawa. Like I want to see a duet of them like pretending to date, you know, but they're like, but it's pretend. It's pretend. No, it's pretend. It's totally pretend. And like, you know, I just love the fake dating to real dating pipeline trope. So I would just love to see them sing about how, oh no, but we're not really dating. We're just friends.
I could definitely see that. Yeah.
That actually sounds really good.
Yeah.
I could kind of picture Ishikawa and Miyamura having like a bromance kind of like little musical together.
Yes, absolutely.
A rad bromance. A rad bromance.
But Ishikawa getting like jealous.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, we've been best friends for a really long time.
I love that song.
Hey, I'm glad we can all get in the same picture on that one. Changed my life.
I think it'd be like everyone duetting with Yanagi, where like Yanagi just surprises everybody about not only is he gorgeous, but like sings better than everybody on top of it, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody's like trying to keep up with him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And he's just casually
like
everyone,
just,
not even trying.
Nose days and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Crossing every high note imaginable, and then like everyone just trips over themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
I guess one that I can kind of see working, that I can kind of see would be really funny, would be Ishikawa and Miyamura kind of doing a duet, but it'd be kind of like an awkward duet because he's still kind of terrified of Miyahara, so it'd be like a kind of an awkward like comedy kind of duet, those kind of like joke type of songs together, like, oh, he hit me in the head, but now we're good friends, that kind of thing. I could see that being extremely, I can see that being incredibly funny. Like I see that song, like,
that happened.
That's funny.
Like Miyamura kind of like the low vocals, and then like Sangoku could also have like but Ishikawa too could have like the higher screaming parts, kind of like, you know, but that whole dynamic I think would be really, really funny.
Alejandro's a really good singer in real life, so
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
he does Kagi, and he does a lot of different recordings. He often he in fact recorded the opening for this in English for the
Oh,
Horimiya thing.
did he?
Really?
There's a recording of it on his page if you want to check it out. It's really good.
What
That's
the
so
heck? I didn't
cool.
know
Yeah,
that.
Definitely.
He did
Yeah.
an amazing job, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's crazy.
But has anyone done a cover of the ending theme though? Because that song, oh my god, I love it so much.
Mhm.
I think he's done both. He definitely did the opening though. He definitely did the OP.
I know for a fact that he did the opening. That much I know for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I had no
Someone's
idea.
someone's got to get on to the ending one though, because that song is overdue for like a really good English version.
Or maybe like Sawada and Yanagi both singing like an unrequited love song, since they they each love the two lead ladies and cannot have them.
Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Good
Definitely.
idea.
Little Afia you.
Yeah. Oh, but wait, what about Hori's parents? Like, what kind of song would those two have?
I'm pretty sure being very comical because like I don't know, was they
Their relationship is
Yeah.
weird. Like,
it was so
Yeah.
random.
I feel like the whole family could sing a love song to Miyamura. Like-
Yeah.
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 Unironically, I think that would actually be possible. Like, bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
You were my bro.
Oh,
God.
I'd never let you go.
that was a good tone. That was a good tone. I like that.
Yeah.
Really nice tone there.
All right, let's see. Ivan, you want to read the next question?
Sure. The next question is, what sort of fandom did you enjoy growing up that led you to a life in acting?
Let's see. Okay. This,
Like
this-
just anime or any fandoms?
Anything.
I think anything.
I think it's a tie for me between Sonic the Hedgehog, Mega Man, and Dragon Ball Z.
My man. Thank
Nice.
you. My man. Thank you.
Yeah, 'cause all of those, funny enough, have had like very like long and complicated histories when it comes to like voice acting from different companies and all that. Oh, right, and Pokemon, definitely Pokemon. You cannot talk about voice acting without talking about Pokemon at least one time.
Yes.
If it's
All the-
cartoons, if it's anime type stuff, I grew up on Dragon Ball. Well, grew up is a strong term because I was born like but the first movie I ever saw in the theaters was the Transformers movie, the cartoon. And I had been watching Saturday morning cartoons with them all, for years. And in the first 10 minutes, they kill Optimus Prime. And I'm just, spoiler, by the way, if you haven't seen that movie. And I'm in the theater, 1985 or 86, just devastated, realizing my own mortality. And so I start watching a lot of darker things at that point. So, Martin Scorsese and Pacino and De Niro and all those guys are what got me into acting and stuff. So my fandom led me down a dark path.
Wow. That's depressing.
Wow,
Yeah.
I got morbid
That's-
real quick.
Yeah. Like,
I wrote a whole dissertation in college about it, about that moment.
No.
really?
Realizing my mortality as a very young child.
I learned that death was
My
immutable.
goodness.
I learned that death was immutable because of Transformers.
It transformed you, essentially.
Oh, it did.
no!
I had to. I'm sorry.
All right, Emily, the floor is yours.
I mean, I was a big like musical dork growing up, actually. So I was just kind of into that side of it, but also into video games. I loved Final Fantasy. I loved the Tales series. So all that stuff kind of led me to this field. And when I was younger, my the first anime I ever watched was Fruits Basket. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
What a long time. How many people that show has had an effect on, and like so many people who were like, I grew up watching this and now I'm able to be in it 10 years
Right,
later.
yeah.
It's like so wild.
Oh my
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Um,
Bruh, like I unfortunately didn't get the chance of watching it when I was younger, but when I got to watch the new Fruits Basket series, I understood it. Like I totally got like what the hype was for. That show made me feel, oh my god. I felt way too many emotions watching that show, and I loved it.
Good
I
pick,
want
Emily.
I want more of the stories from the manga to be adapted into anime. Like that's all I'm asking for.
It will.
What?
Oh,
Wait, what?
oh wait,
That
yes,
that stuff's getting done.
Isn't there like a
It will
movie-
never
prequel
end.
movie? There's gonna be a prequel movie about Kyoko and her husband, Toru's
Mhm.
parents coming out.
Really?
Soon, so. Yeah, I remember them announcing that like on one of the last few episodes of Fruits Basket.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Fruits
that's
Basket is a
really
great
hype.
property, and it's a good mirror for Horimiya too. They
Mhm.
share a lot of the same tropes. I mean, no, there's more magic in Fruits Basket, but I think like the stakes are the same for young people, in
Mhm.
both. And I think that that's what makes those things so good is that within a normal kind of setting, their feelings for each other at such a high level as they would be for anybody as a teenager. Everything means so much more at that age. Even
Mhm.
though when you reflect on it, you're like, oh God, what was I thinking?
Mhm.
But everything's so heightened, the littlest thing. And both of those shows capture that really, really well.
Absolutely.
Alan, how about you?
So yeah, as far as voice acting, I think, I did grow up on Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z as well, but I don't think
Nice.
at that point I was really like, I was too young. I didn't really understand like, oh, these are voice actors and their job is to dub this anime. Like I didn't understand that. But I think the first time I made the connection was watching the Batman animated series. And when I found out Mark
nice.
Hamill was the Joker, that's when I was like, wait, but he was in Star Wars and he's an actor. And now he's doing this thing in a cartoon. Like you're allowed to do that. And so I think that was the first time that I was like, oh, you can be a voice actor and like a real actor, as I used to call it. So I think that was probably the first time that I was like, oh, this is a thing that like actors do. It's not just like a separate section of people. But like the fandom that I think definitely got me into acting was Harry Potter. Once the movies started coming out, I was writing fan fiction at the time. Like you
Really?
And yes, and I used to write like half my fan fiction was in the Harry Potter universe. The other half was like in our universe. And I was like an extra in Harry Potter on set. So I got like both sides. Yes. So I think that was the first fandom that really made me think like, oh my God, I would have loved to like be in that movie. Like I always wanted to like fly to England and like bump into J.K. Rowling so she would cast me. Didn't happen. Hasn't happened yet.
Now we want to bump into her for a different reason.
Yes, now I want to put my fist into her face.
Oh no!
That's awesome.
No.
That's awesome. That's a
Yeah.
I love that's yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next question we have ourselves here is actually a 3-part question. This person asked 3 questions into one. So the first part is how playing these characters was a challenge. Horimiya tells a story about struggle and student life. How far did it echo within you?
Oh my God. Really deep question, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 a chance to think about it. Yeah, because obviously I didn't portray any of them in this arc, but I had to study them and fall in love with all of them. And from this position of directing and kind of watching these elements come together, reading the manga and kind of understanding the arc of these people, you want the best for all of them. And the challenge is falling in love and knowing where they're going to end up at, and understanding that there's so much involved that they can't all get what they want, but it all ends up going the way that it needs to happen, because sometimes the things that you want aren't the things that are the best thing for you. Sakura being the best example of that, I think, being that she puts so much emphasis on her feelings and wants something so bad and puts so much effort into it, and by all accounts she's the deserving person in that equation, and it doesn't happen. But it's not a tragedy for her not to have that, and it hurts watching it happen, and you want so badly for all of them to get the things that they want. And I think that's the challenge, is watching that and being delicate about those feelings, and rooting for the best and guiding these performers to provide that and connect with that. And that's, that was a challenge from the seat that I was in.
Very beautifully said.
Definitely, yeah.
That kind of got me choked up a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because that's exactly what I felt for Sakura. That's what I really wanted to happen. Like, okay, it didn't work out, but like I was hoping she gets some kind of closure, And that's why I really vouched for Sakura the most. So yeah.
Wow. If I were to best describe what made it the most challenging for me, I can't be as poetic as Sean. Thank you for stealing the show, by the way. But in all seriousness, okay, so it mainly boils down to the fact that, okay, compared to everyone else in the call right now, I'm the spring chicken when it comes to ADR in general. So this was my first time really getting into like a major ADR anime role. So it was more so about trying to get my foot in the door and what other extra steps I'd have to take to really play the character properly. And one of the biggest things I did when it came to playing Sengoku was watch the episodes before I got to do the recording. Like, I always watched the Japanese version before we had to record for the English version. So that way I was always aware of everything that was going on in the moment. And it really did give me both the lens of a viewer as well as the actor, so that I can understand where the character is coming from an outside perspective. So that way I can play them, like from the inside. Essentially when I was watching Sengoku, initially I didn't think much of him. Like, I thought he was just going to be like the uptight character like throughout the entire series. But the moment like he talked with Sakura about, what he liked about Remy, that scene changed my entire perspective on the character outright, because that's where I got to learn that he was actually a lot like me, in all honesty, because he admits to himself that he's a very weak person physically and even at times emotionally, but that doesn't mean that he's gonna like always fail as a person. It just means that he can always just continue trying and trying, even if he fails multiple times. It's the fact that he actually continues trying that's what makes it the most important for him as a person. Like, because that's what Remy loves about him ultimately as well. Like, even if he's not he might be the weakest person she knows, but his tenacity to try over and over again, that's what makes him a strong person in his own way. Like, strength isn't always physical. It can be essentially, it can boil down to many things. And in Sengoku's case, it's his willingness to do the right thing, or just be like a force for other people, even if it scares him at times, even if it's hard for him, even if he takes the brunt for it, like when everyone just kind of dogs on him at times. But at the same time, no one hates him though. Like, essentially, he does hard things, but that's part of his job, and that doesn't make him a bad person, because that's ultimately what makes Horimiya so special in a way. Like, there are people who do bad things, but that doesn't necessarily mean anyone's a bad person, especially since there's always room to grow, change, and learn from all your shortcomings. Your shortcomings, your failings in the past, what you took away from the unfortunate stuff that happened to you. It's a learning experience as you grow up, and everyone learns something by the time the series ends. And so it's overall just learning to see those shortcomings, see what you see in yourself with the character, and just learning to embrace that wholeheartedly, because I have a soft spot when it comes to weaker weaker men in shows because I myself am a weaker man in the real world. And Sengoku, he was a character that really helped me kind of come to terms with that. Like, just because I'm not the strongest person in the world, that doesn't mean I'm a weak person in general. Like, I've lately been much more outspoken in the real world, and ultimately it doesn't mean that just because I'm not the strongest person physically, like just because I don't go to the gym every day, doesn't mean I'm bound to be the weakest person you'll ever meet. Because strength at the end of the day strength in of itself can be a subjective force. It can be something that's determined based on the individual, not something that's just universally judged by everyone to be like a definite thing. And it's kind of like the same thing with Remy and Sakura. Like, the thing that I love even more with the student council is like all of them are insecure about something. Sengoku is insecure about his physical prowess and his overall sense of self-worth because of his position of power. Remy is insecure about the fact that people see her, like, just because she's cute, that people think she's automatically an idiot, when in actuality, she's more in the know about things than most other people. Like, she's way smarter than she lets on. Like, she reads like grim fairy tales and all that stuff. She's not the ditzy person that people make her out to be. And Sakura, she's the underdog. She feels like people judge her cruelly because she's not what people think is like the prettiest girl around. And that's what like Remy remember that scene in the flashback with with Sengoku and Remy where those guys were like saying really gross things about like how they saw Sakura compared to Remy. And like Sengoku was just like, she's just a normal person like any of us. Like she's like, he didn't see her as an object. He saw her as a person first and foremost. And that's like, even without the student council, you could tell that's just how he sees people. That's how he judges people. And that's how I kind of like want to live my life in ways. Like, I want to be able to judge people based on who they are, rather than just like cruelly judging people based on like their physical attributes. Like, what makes the student council special is they're not judged based on, how they stand based on like physical looks and aesthetics. They're judged based on like how much they actually contribute to the school and what they ultimately do. And I really do have a soft spot for those characters. Like, I'll always love that gang. They'll always have a special place in my heart. And when it comes to Sengoku, even if I get different roles as time goes on, he's always going to be like one of my favorite characters of all time.
That's awesome.
Once again, very beautifully said.
Yeah, speaking of not being, able to elucidate what you want to say, but all that stuff you talked about reminded me of one of my favorite scenes. As it kind of expresses and piggybacks on the strength that you're illustrating. Just the moment in the library where you, in your home library, where you confess your feelings for Remy, and you tell that story at the end about the end of the book about embracing and turning into space dust. The end, that sort of thing. To me, that knocked me off my feet the moment I saw it and read it, and then saw you guys perform it. And that's, I think that's a great feat of strength for a young person to express themselves so deeply in a very, very vulnerable moment for themselves.
Yeah.
It's that inner strength that, it's like when they face with that kind of situation, it's like when they say certain things, like maybe they meant, like how he kind of freaks out after he says it is like when you say those things, like it's your inner strength. It's like you say it from your heart. But I don't think most people kind of get that they're actually saying it, but when they say it from the heart, it's like it's truthful, it's pure, and that's ultimately what I really got from that. Not just for Son Goku, but for a lot of the cast as well. And that's one thing that's just like, it's like something I've always said. Again, it's organic, it's beautiful, and it really demonstrates that. Yeah, but go ahead.
Emily, have a
well, for me, the challenge with Sota was that with him being a little child, he's 5, so he that is inherently a different mindset you have to tap into when you're playing a kid that young. And with Sota, he is usually on the edge of the action in the show, right? So he is he's involved with with what's going on at home, but he doesn't, being a kid, doesn't know the full scope of what's happening, and so I felt that tapping into that was both easy and hard because of the moment we're all in as a the moment I'm in and the moment we're all in as a culture, where we were recording this during a pandemic where we are all somewhat isolated to whatever degree, right? And so it's that feeling that the world is sort of passing you by, right? And things are happening that you cannot control in your life, and that's really what being a kid feels like, right? Is you don't really have control. So when things happen, that change your world, like your big sister gets a boyfriend and you think she's going to be gone forever, it makes you feel very helpless. And so it was kind of a process of tapping into that existing feeling of what's going to happen now. The adults are the adults or the world at large are making the decisions for me, right? And I can't control any of this. And so those really emotional moments and those vulnerable moments for Sota, I think the challenge of those was that they were pretty real at this moment. We all do, I think, to some degree, feel helpless at this time, and did, especially at that time when the vaccine was only kind of just starting to get going, and we did not know where any of this was headed. And so just feeling that sense of well, what's going to happen now? I've just kind of heard what's happening to me, but I'm just little and I don't know.
Yeah.
Yet you're the catalyst for it all, Sota.
Yeah.
Everything happens because of Sota.
Yeah.
Allie, what about you?
It was, let's see, it was a little bit of a challenge because if you know me, you know that I have 4 sisters, but I am the second youngest, and I didn't grow up with my youngest sister. I'm the youngest of my mom's children. So I was always the little sister who was getting lectured to and not the other way around. And I also feel like this is probably one of my most mature characters as far as age goes. Besides that really old, like I played a grandma once, but in the background. But this is like a more mature character. I think I'm used to being like the more plucky, like teenage sort of character. And so to be sort of one of the more mature ones of the series, and bring out that come on, little sis, you're being dumb, but I still love you vibes. I really related to that because my older siblings have been calling me dumb my entire life, but also loving me my entire life. But I think the part that I related to more were the 2 main characters, because I think in high school it's so easy to think, oh, well, this is how people see me, so that's just how I'm going to be, and this is how people want to see me. And if I want to have friends, or if I don't care about having friends and I want people to leave me alone, then I need to act a certain way. And then, I'll be able to survive the hell that is high school. And then when you get older, you realize that, people might have liked you better that way, but it's not you. And it can be hard to let go of like this person you've created to please other people or to hide from other people. And so the fact that they find each other and feel like, oh, I can be myself with you. I just imagine them as they get older, they can be themselves with everyone eventually. Because I still feel they're both kind of finding that by the end of the series. But that's where I see it going. And so I think it's I'm not super into slice of life anime, but I recommend this one to everyone because I think that's probably the most relatable part of it, is that sometimes you need help from friends or lovers or somewhere in between to help you find yourself and to feel confident enough to be yourself in front of everyone. But it's hard. High school is hard and kids are mean. So I relate to that for sure.
Well, very well said.
Very. So let's get to the second part of the question. Reuben?
It's a unique story with real life situations. Did this story help you learn something about yourself?
Just that high school feels like it's a long time. So much happens in it. So much sticks with you in it. But it's only a few years. And then the rest of your life is after it. And, you know, it's amazing how much it influences or at least colors a lot of your perspective. But while you're in it, it feels like forever. And then you realize it was a very, very short time.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things I take away whenever I see any kind of slice of life, high school or junior high show. It's just looking at the stakes being so high and how much of their lives are affected by what's happening around them. And then when it gets to the end, you realize, well, they still have a life to lead, you know, and they may not see some of these people ever again. But I think while they're there, and what's great about Horimiya especially is that they all eventually understand each other and give each other strength. And I think that's what makes this show so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Emily, Emily, would you like to add on to that?
That was much more eloquent than anything I could have come up with.
I've had a lot of time in my life to think back, you know, noir style and really kind of put some color on what I say.
It shows. It really shows.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's, I mean, that really is the feeling, right? And it's similar to, I mean, as I was talking about with my character, most of my themes are just being a kid and not really understanding what's going on. And again, it's a similar feeling with that, right? Where you look back on childhood and adolescence and think about, you know, again, as Sean said, what a small amount of time that is, and how long and how extreme everything feels at those ages, and it's really interesting the way that our brains work that allows us to be wired to feel that way, and the way we develop and come to understand, come to gain perspective after that.
Yeah. Ali?
Yeah.
Sorry, someone is like laying on the horn outside of the window. I don't know if y'all can hear it at all.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta love New York. Oh my gosh.
I'm from New York, actually. That's awesome.
Oh, really? Yes,
Yeah.
I just moved here like 2 months ago.
Really?
So I'm definitely still
Person's
getting
just saying
used to
hello.
it. Yes,
Right.
yes,
That's
exactly.
awesome.
Hello, neighbors. Hello. Yeah. Did I learn something about myself? I don't know. I think, like I said, I think it helped me acknowledge like the mask that I created in high school, and it continued. Like I moved out of my hometown right after high school, which I guess a lot of people did. But even once I moved to Texas, I kind of felt like, oh, I have to be a certain way. Like this is my chance to start fresh, but I didn't really start fresh. I like created a new persona that also wasn't me. And it just, made me realize that it's so much easier and more fun to be yourself than to be anyone else. And you're, something that our acting teachers tell us all the time, improv teachers, is that, you are the strongest character that you will ever play. And so with Miki, I also got to use, I think I use my natural voice a lot in a lot of my characters, but I feel like a lot of times I'm making them younger or I'm making them, something is different about them. And I feel like with Miki, I got to think like, yeah, what if I was just her older sister? Like I could be how old I am now. Like I don't have to change that much about me. And the fact that she was so funny and like, it just really, it made me more hopeful, I think, for voice acting for me, because I think it's easy to like compare yourself to others and say, oh, well, I'm not able to do the kawaii voice. I'm not able to really do like really young children or, you know, I feel like my vocal quality is different from the other successful actresses that I know. But it just made me realize that like there are so many other roles. Like you don't need to be beating yourself up because you can't play the kawaii princess. You can play like this really cool, chill older sister and have a lot of fun and like bring life to her. So I think I learned a little bit about like learning to embrace my own voice. And I definitely have Caitlin and Sean to thank for that as well. I mean, both of them have been there throughout my entire voice acting journey. And I think both of them have very much encouraged, you know, acting first over like voice modulation. And so it's been cool to see the industry, like certain shows at least, go in that direction and say like, hey, we want to hear what you sound like and we want to bring diversity into our shows. And part of that is being able to hear these different personalities and different voices. And so to just be in a show that it was not just diverse by like looking at the headshots, like you could hear the different personalities and the different cultures and ethnicities in there. And so it was such an honor to be a part of that and to think like, hey, I don't have to change myself and I don't have to sound a certain way in order to be a voice actor.
Oh man, how am I gonna top that? How am I gonna top any of that? Okay, well, I guess
you got this.
Okay. Well, I guess the best way to start really was that, you know, getting to work on Horimiya really did take me out of like a really bad headspace, if I'm gonna be honest here, because when the year started, I wasn't exactly at 100%. So getting to really explore this sort of story, not only was it one of the most nuanced takes on the slice of life, you know, kind of formula that we usually get, but it was also a chance to really prove that I was just as capable as any other person in the industry. And it was just a chance to really learn that, you know, we all do dumb things. We all feel silly. We all just like everyone in the show, like we all get to be stupid and crazy and just weird all the time. But, you know, it's like what we were mentioning before. There's nothing wrong with being weird or silly or dumb. Like, as long as you don't let that be like the only thing that defines you, because people do ultimately have layers to the. Excuse me. Just swallowed a bit prematurely. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, perfect example there.
Speaking of which, yeah.
Yeah, we're all silly in our own ways, but that's not what ultimately defines us. We're all interesting and unique. We're all interesting and unique creatures, so ultimately, it's what you pretty much do with that really counts. I don't know the best way of really answering this question because it really gets very deep. And if I were to think of high school or middle school, okay, if I were to think of high school and middle school, the easiest answer I would give you is I am glad I am never doing those again, because I am glad I'm the person I am now than I was when I was the person back then. That was no, I never want to go back to that, because like I mentioned being in a bad headspace earlier this year, and that it didn't help, final semester of college and all that jazz. I got through that, thank God. If you had known me in high school, oh my God, you'd hate me. You would have hated me back in high school. Just saying. So the beauty of Horimiya is like getting to know that, anyone can change if given the chance, and given enough time, there's the possibility of learning to like overcome how you used to be back in the day. And with how each of the characters kind of like, every character has changed in their own ways, and it's all about like learning how each of them kind of overcame the person that they used to be. It's not easy. It's most likely never easy for each individual person, but everyone's road is different in that way. And it's always refreshing to know just how everyone's kind of walked a different road.
Yeah.
So it just kind of taught me a bit of like enlightening myself to other experiences, as well as kind of learning to not beat myself up over my own shortcomings.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would always dog on myself the most when it comes to like a shortcoming. Always have to humble yourself. Always have to just be the bottom of, be at the bottom of the barrel if you could help it. But there's nothing wrong with being a little confident in yourself and just like at least acknowledging that you deserve basic respect like any other human being. Like hence why nowadays I have been a bit more outspoken as of late, because it's all about just like learning to understand your own self-worth as time goes on.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Part 3 of this final questions right here of this from this person. How was the experience of voicing and exploring characters, nuances, and facades? Speaking of experience, to what extent did you put your own?
I think, okay, since I answered last, I might as well go first on this one. Okay, so it was a blast getting to explore like the different nuances and facets of each character, like as we were going through the entire show. Ultimately, though, it was hard at first because I was pretty new to anime, but at this point with several years of experience in voice acting in general, that really helped me get to this point. I thankfully got to incorporate some of what I've learned as an actor in general in order to incorporate that into anime, because I was thankful we got the chance to really play this very straight face as opposed to like being like super anime characters, yeah. How most people think anime is versus like how a lot of times, especially in English dubs, like we do get a lot more room to be more nuanced. And it's just, let's see. Speaking of experience, to what extent did you put your own? I'd say at first, first time around with Sengoku, it felt like just kind of playing the character how I imagined. But after the whole "what do you like about Remy" sequence and everything that just kind of went on, that's where I did understand he was more like me in several ways, and so I was able to really put myself in this situation, because I did get reminded of like high school me when it came to Sengoku in many facets. Not all of them, thank God, but some of them. There were some familiar beats here and there. So it felt really good just kind of like connecting with a character who you could relate to on a more personal level. It didn't feel like being thrust into like a more alien sort of territory. It felt like, okay, how do I do this in a way that's believable, but at the same time it's still anime,
Gotcha.
There's a lot that goes into this, but I don't think I can articulate every nuance or facet that really went into it. It was just overall the best I can say is it was just a blast really getting to put myself into the character and like understanding how complex each situation really is, because a lot of stuff I never really got to experience in high school. I was just kind of nose in the books sort of person. Like by senior year I just stopped caring, but most of school you just have to like grind, just continue doing your schoolwork, don't socialize because it's gonna end up getting you into stupid things. But by the time I was in college, I just really got over all of that stuff. So it's just a matter of learning to they're all at a stage, they're still in high school, so it's all about just like learning. I'm at a point where I'm still stupid. I still feel like everyone's opinions of me matters the most out of anyone in my life. So it's just about like worrying about how other people will see me versus how I see myself, or like how people who actually do have a say in my future see me. Because trust me, thank God I didn't have someone like Miyamura kicking my ass every day. That much I'm thankful for. God. But I kind of wish I did have friend circles like Miyamura and everyone else, though, because
Mhm.
they are
Yeah.
really small people. It's just
Yeah.
looking back, there's a lot I do envy in this show because there's so much that I kind of wish I had that growing up to kind of like bring me out of my shell in high school versus having to wait until I was an adult to really kind of learn to get over myself in those aspects.
Same.
Yeah. Allie?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yeah, I mean, I think I kind of already talked about it, but just like bringing in my own experiences with my sisters and how they would give me some tough love whenever I needed it, and I loved Mickey and Yuki's relationship and how she teases her, but you can tell that she also has her best interests in mind. And when you grow up with a sister who's really close in age with you, like I did with my sisters, there's really no one who knows you better than them. You know, they are with you almost 24/7. You know, me and my siblings were so close in age, like we went to the same school at the same time sometimes. So it really was like anytime I was having any problems, my sister like already knew what was going on, already knew what my problem was. And so it was really fun to bring that in and to see when Yuki like does go back to school. It's kind of nice because I'm not in the next episode. And so when or I think it happens at the end of the episode I'm in, but when she goes back to school and is like a little better, I'm kind of like watching like, yeah, I did that. I was the one who encouraged her to go back. And so it was really fun. And like I said, it was really nice to get to play. Same here, like Belle was talking about, this was probably the most natural show I've ever been in. And so there was so much more room for nuances and for using my own, like, how would I say this? How would I make this funny or not funny? It was really nice because it was less so about the something ridiculous or a fight scene or magic. It was just so real and grounded. And it like I remember Caitlin just saying to me like, yeah, just pretend that you're her older sister and like say the line like an older sister. And it was something so simple, but I had a really good time doing it.
Nice. Emily?
You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yeah, for me, I kind of playing off of what these guys said about this really lovely naturalistic sound that that Caitlin and Sean have created with this show. It was the difficult part for me was that I was playing again a young child, and and that I do have to put on a voice for him. And it's not too far from my natural voice. I do have kind of a boyish voice. But it is difficult to because in anime especially we get used to playing boys a certain way and kind of doing that thing where you sound like a boy, and that's not really how boys talk, but it's a stylistic choice in a lot of shows, right? And it works in a lot of shows, but it would
You're
not
hired.
work in this one. I couldn't have played Soda like this, and it wouldn't have worked. And so just finding ways to play him in a naturalistic way while putting on that voice, and not just sounding like a dull woman Emily, and sounding like a little boy while giving trying to give naturalistic reads was a really refreshing challenge, and Sean and Caitlin were really helpful with that. And as for my experience, I mean, I have played a lot of boys, and that I think helped and was kind of a detriment, because as I said, that we get used to playing boys in a stylized way as women who play boys a lot. And so learning to just relax into a read and just let things come out without worrying about sounding boy enough was sort of a challenge, but really fun one though.
All right.
And you sounded great too. Sorry, I just had to say that.
That's kind of
definitely.
phenomenal.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Ivan,
Watching
you wanna
all
read
of
the next
them.
question?
Sure.
But what were you gonna say, John?
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna point out that when I do these, when I perform a character or when I'm directing characters, and this is something I applied to the tapestry, by the way, a very beautiful tapestry of people on this show in particular, is you have to find something to love about every single character, whether they're coming from a bad place, whether they're a villain, anything. And that's just a typical process in my head, is finding something that I love about them before ever finding the voice for the character. And I think that you have to put yourself in positions to understand where they're coming from. You have to sometimes manufacture scenarios where you can understand where somebody might do something horrific and then might find a way to love that person and for what they've ended up having to go through. Maybe not forgive them, maybe not condone anything, but you have to find a way to love them. Otherwise, I don't think the truth comes through in what you're performing, right?
Yeah.
And I think what's really great about this show in general is especially bringing a lot of kind of first timers to the board, or people who have limited experience in doing reality and essentially like a slice of life type stuff, giving them that freedom and then kind of encouraging them to follow those paths that kind of relate to themselves and kind of pull out past experiences for themselves and understand that these are people that they've run into and that they've lived right, they've sat right across from in school. They're their families. So you have to apply the same thing. You have to make them see what you see and love the way you love, and then be able to let them bring what they have to the table and embrace that. And that's what, that's part of collaboration. Collaboration is not getting exactly everything that I want or I picture, but being able to work with somebody to create something unique and that we both can love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
love that so much, Sean. That's so great.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll get to the next question, and that would be, when watching the last episode of Horimiya, what was your reaction to it as a whole, and which part of it was your favorite?
Oh man, that was such a beautiful ending, though. Like
it was.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh
I
my
cried.
it was so amazing.
What was our reaction?
All I'm hoping for is all I'm hoping for is OVA made for the final chapter. Like that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Like the after story, like they're all adults and everything. Like post high school. That is all I ask for. That is all I'm asking for. Because if we can play our characters again at least one more time, that is going to be like the biggest blessing like ever. Like, because this has a special place in my heart. Oh my god. Now, favorite part. I'm going to be biased. I'm definitely going to be biased here. My favorite parts were definitely when the student council was talking about their plans to go visit the zoo. There's that one.
Yeah.
But also the scene where Sengoku chases Miyamura down the hall for ruining his speech.
I love that.
Oh my god. I am so happy with how that one turned out.
Same.
That was a funny
Voice
scene. I
cracks
remember
and
that
all.
scene.
It made it perfect.
Oh, jeez.
We had a nice behind the scenes ad lib at the end. So the very, very end is my favorite bit, where it's like, oh, what to get her? Oh, a nice, whipped cream cake or something like that, right? But we did a very not producible throwback ad lib to the fact that she likes being rough and stuff like that. Oh, I know what you'd like, a nice smack in the face. It's just like that's where it ended for me and Morris, and it was just like, we're so cheery, but we know what you'd like.
I was really anticipating that. I was anticipating, like, what is she like? Oh, a good slap to the face. I was seriously anticipating that, but now we went with the cake. I'm like, okay, this was.
We went with the cake. I mean, it's what was written.
That's hilarious. Oh man,
that would have made a funny blooper, actually.
Oh, that's yes.
Yeah.
We have to be careful about stuff like that too, because I think the reason why we don't do it as much anymore is back in the day, some of those made it to network, premieres and stuff like that, and it's just like,
Yeah.
nobody's getting fired.
Oh my god! If Horimiya gets on Toonami, would that be
God.
possible?
Oh, that'd be awesome. I don't know.
I hope. I pray.
I could see.
But wait. Slice of life story on Toonami? No, never mind. I don't think that's gonna be physically possible. Toonami is for like all the action and stuff, but and while Horimiya does have a lot of action content in it, it's not to the extent where you'd have it airing on Toonami, where all the other stuff that you'd normally be watching would be kind of going balls to the balls crazy. Would be fantastic though, but don't count your chickens before they hatch on that one.
Yeah.
Praying for the OVA at least. That is all I'm asking for.
I think there is one online. I think there is a cover on YouTube because I'm actually looking it up right now, and I believe I think there is a cover for it. I don't know if this could be the right one, but it could be it. I'm not going to play it now because it's copyright, but I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure it is out there. I'm certainly confident.
I think I remember watching at least one cover of the song, but it's like, more people, please. More people doing that, please. This show has amazing music. It has a phenomenal soundtrack. So
it does.
That is everybody.
All right. Emily, how about you for the question?
Yeah. I mean, similar to where I was just really, really hoping that we get more because it's there's so much that we can still explore with that story. So it was very bittersweet to watch that because it was so lovely to hear everybody. I mean, even just compared to episode 1, to hear the way that people had just completely settled into their roles, right, and to had become so comfortable with every word, and to hear that was so nice, but then just made you miss, already miss it even more.
Allie?
Yes, I mean, I felt, like I said, I cried.
Yeah.
I really did. And I didn't think I would. I feel like most of the time when I cry while watching anime, it's because someone has died. Very gruesome death. And so that did not happen this time. Spoiler alert, no one dies. And
God.
right? I would have really been crying. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to be biased. I really like the Yuki, Miki scenes. I thought they were so precious and cute, but also funny. And I think the funny parts were what I loved the most. There were just so many one-liners that genuinely made me crack up, that I was just like, who is writing this script? Because it is so funny.
Yes.
So funny.
Yes.
And I just love all of the choices that, I don't know the whole process that goes into writing a script and translating and everything, but I just loved the word choices, the jokes that they made. I loved it all. And like I said, I loved that the actors who were performing in it got to use their natural voice and their natural sort of energy to deliver those lines. And I don't know if I've ever laughed that hard from a slice of life show. I just feel like most slice of life, I don't really relate to it. And I just think the diversity of the voices was a huge factor for me when it came to relating to these characters and to laughing along with them, because I was like, yeah, this is how my friends joked in high school. So yeah, I just loved all the funny moments, and there are too many to name.
Sean?
Oh, I mean, like I said, the absolute end was my favorite, just because of the bits that we played with. My reaction to it as a whole, I cried. I'm a Pisces, so I cry at everything. So
I am too, actually. So I feel you there.
It just reminded me of the whole process of putting it together, and as far as reflecting on the episode, it just made me reflect on the whole process in general, and one of the last things that was done was a post up, and I think either Emily or Caitlin actually created it, which was kind of this tapestry of everybody that was in the show from a named perspective, and just seeing, just the the BIPOC beauty of it and the LGBTQ representation that was in it, and just the voices that came through, and the effort that we made to say that, don't get locked in and honed in on how your, juvenile best boy should sound, or, best girl should sound. These are supposed to be real people. And I mean, real people in any anime, even in the most heightened, crazy anime, they're supposed to be real. And they can sound like anything if you deliver it in a truthful way. And that's what I think makes the show so amazing, is I think everybody fell in love with what they were doing, and so everything was truthful. And I reflected on that, and brought me to tears again. And I think I try to thank everybody that I've run into the show for their contribution to it. And I just think that it was a special show to me. I hope it was special for everybody that was involved.
Definitely.
It was 100% special. It was like I said, anime doesn't have to have like massive explosions to be one of the best animes ever. And I definitely consider this one my top 5 favorite anime. And I sincerely mean that. This was truly something remarkable, and you all were fantastic in it. 100%.
I think it's a reflection of the world view on it too, because the manga, it may still be, but at one point was in the top 10, top 15 of all mangas, and it was the only only non-shonen in that ranking.
Wow.
It shows how amazing
no
the story resonated with people, and I think even on paper. So that's I think that we got very lucky to be a part of it.
That's huge.
Yeah, I think when I was watching it and I hit the last episode, this was probably the first anime where it ever got me like that, where I didn't realize it was the last episode. And I was like, that was it? No, I want more. Like, I was like, no. Like, I literally got kind of sad, because it was I wanted more, but at the same time it's I loved it. It was so good. I loved everything about it, where it was the art style for it, the voice acting that all of you did for it, everything all around, the storytelling. It was to me, it was a very beautiful anime, and I absolutely loved every part of it.
Absolutely. Just to kind of jump off what he said, like I said before, it just it doesn't have to be a big explosion type of anime to be just utterly fantastic. It's it's super relatable, it's super funny. I didn't expect it's going to laugh as hard as I did, but I laughed very hard watching a lot of these episodes. I got very hard, very emotional in a lot of these episodes, and the ending was bittersweet in the sense that I really want to know more. I want to know more. I want more closure for some of these other characters, like Sakura. What happens to her? Yuri, what's gonna happen to her? And just everybody. I really want to see that closure. But that doesn't change the fact that it was very beautifully written, beautifully paced, and I personally have no complaints about it. I thought it was damn near perfect. Excuse my French. I truly mean that.
Yeah.
Makes a good property too, that it has an end and people desire more from it, and they're begging for it.
Yeah.
It's great strength to have a story that can close like that and still be slightly open-ended. There's potential for their futures, and everybody wants to get curious as to their lives, and there are OVAs that you can happen on that. But just as a general story, in anime, especially if you get these one season stories, 13 episodes or round about that, a lot of times it ends and you're like, oh, well, guess that's the end. This one, you're like, oh my God, it's the end. Why is it the end? And I think that makes it a strong story that people would love it, and want more of it.
Yeah. Aside from your own character you voice, which character is your favorite?
Oh, damn, that's hard. I loved all the characters.
I think Ishikawa was my favorite. I just think he was the funniest, honestly.
For real, though. And Dino Robinson playing him really did make him just a perfect character.
Yes, he was hilarious.
From a practical standpoint, Yanagi was my favorite, just because, another behind the scenes thing, Johnny Young Bosch played the character, and we did not let the cast know. We let nobody know that Johnny Young Bosch was coming onto this.
Someone else told me, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah. So when we got to reveal it, and when we got to everyone started to get to hear his voice as they were recording, like we would mute his voice until in the recordings for sessions, people didn't even get to hear him as to work off of him. So when we got to reveal, it was like this big, exciting thing amongst the cast and all the production people, and that made him my favorite. One, he's a lot of fun. He's just this like, this Adonis that everyone realizes is real and has these flaws, and then like then the fact that it's Johnny Young Bosch, who essentially can do no wrong. His voice is super flexible, and he can voice a lot of ranges, and he's very sweet as Yanagi.
I think at one point, like I almost heard Johnny Young Bosch during our session. I was like, wait, is that Yanagi's voice? Like,
a sentence or two would occasionally slip out, and you'd be like, oh, mute. No, that was nothing.
I didn't. It's like I didn't think that was Johnny Young Bosch, but it's like, is that Yanagi's voice? Oh wow, he sounds very smooth.
I had no idea that was him. Like honestly,
so
like
me neither.
When I found out, my head exploded.
Oh my gosh,
bro! Getting to work with Johnny Young Bosch was a bucket list dream. He's my favorite.
Until actually Reuben actually told me it was Johnny Young Bosch, I was like, what? Because I didn't recognize his voice, and I had to listen careful. I'm like, that is Johnny Young Bosch. Like how? Like I couldn't recognize him. I was like, wow. Like I was just shocked. Like I was,
It was so good. I was like, I had no idea.
It was amazing. I just
Emily,
his favorite delivery really just puts me off guard sometimes.
He's a smooth operator.
Really hearing him voicing like a main character that yells all the time, but like when I actually hear him not yelling, I don't think he yelled one time in this show. That's what's crazy.
No, he didn't. That's so true, though.
Oh my god, that's wild.
Emily,
Yanagi is definitely one of my favorite characters. That's for sure. But I'd also have to say, uncontested, Miyamura and Ishikawa, definitely. They're the bros. As far as the girls, I love all the female characters in Horimiya. Like, there's not a single bad one, straight up.
Yeah.
With the guys, like, Tachibana... Wait, was Tachibana, like, the blue-hair bully one? Was that
Tanihara.
Tony,
I didn't even remember
Tanihara,
his name. That's how mean he was. Tanihara, okay. Tanihara. I'm iffy on him, but he's working to better himself, so I'll give him some slack, I guess. But as far as the female characters, I could personally relate to Yuki. The idea of just like keeping yourself always energetic, always positive, but like secretly you're a depresso espresso. It's just like she's secretly depression mode.
That's funny.
Like and Hori is definitely one of the best characters in the show. Like bar none, she just dismantled my entire worldview on the whole tsundere archetype. Like I don't like tsundere characters, but Hori instantly became one of my exceptions because she apologizes when she knows she did wrong, which is a rare sight when it comes to tsundere.
Actually,
you don't see that often. It's like you hit someone for a misunderstanding and then like you don't apologize for it. Like, that's mean. And like, and she feels really guilty about it. Like she knows that she does wrong and she atones for it. Like it proves like she's not a bad person and she's aware of her own shortcomings in the long run. And like, remember like when she tossed books in Miyamura and like she was so apprehensive of him coming to her home. Oh man, like she was scared. That was hilarious though. But I am so happy like they really like wrapped everything up so cleanly. Like that was the way they handled their relationship was so natural. It's just like it reminds me that she's a person. Like she's not a trope. She's an actual fleshed out character.
Yeah.
And let's see, what was something I also want? Also, she's a total badass who will just like punch someone for her boyfriend. Like if you make fun of him, she will hit you for it. Like,
Yes.
get yourself a girlfriend who can do that. That is always like, you are instantly a much better character than everyone else if you do that.
That was especially in that one scene with Tori and that other guy who was just saying all this nasty stuff to Izumi. I was just like, I was pissed for him. Like, please beat the hell out of these guys. And Tori just came in and just like, if you have nothing else to say, they get the F out and just snuff the hell out of them. I was like,
off.
Yeah, I was like, thank you.
She is a very fleshed out character, and it's always cool seeing like a really tough female character being like the main one of the main characters. Like it's always nice seeing that, and it's like it's not treated like a weird thing either. Like everyone knows Hori, everyone likes her as a person, everyone knows not to mess with her, otherwise she's gonna give you that work. Or overall, you know she's good, but don't cross her, essentially.
Yeah.
She is a great character overall. I really do love Hori. And also, Marissa Duran, phenomenal as Hori. Oh my god. And she's been killing it lately. Fruits Basket, The World Ends With You, Shadow's House. My god. You are on fire, Marissa.
Emily, you have a favorite?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of favorites, but I don't know. It's close between Ishikawa and Sakura for me, I think. Because I mean, like Zeno just brings so much charm to Ishikawa that, like, I mean, like that. He's a big one up there for me, but like, Sakura is kind of who I was in high school, I think. So, like, I was very introverted, very like by the book, and very trying to be really responsible, right? And so, I feel her. I think, those two are up there for me. Yuki too.
Yeah, Sakura is a fan favorite, I can just tell.
Yeah, she's definitely one of my favorites.
Same.
I think we've all felt like Sakura at least one time, though, and that's what makes her such a relatable character. And I'm so glad, like, after all that the whole Toru nonsense happened, like, she rose above it. Like, she ultimately didn't let it just, like, eat her up inside. Like, after she got a good cry and everything, just, like, she found closure, and she, you know, everyone still likes her. Like, everyone still considers her their friend. Like, it didn't damage her relationships. It didn't like do anything overly dramatic. She got to feel how she was naturally feeling inside because she got to like share it openly with Sengoku at the time. So like it wasn't something she was like just like billowing inside her for so long. Like I'm glad she got it out of her system then, so that it didn't like hurt her in the future. And like I think that's something I might have like missed the first time around, but like the more I analyzed that situation, it was like it's okay to be not okay at times, and that situation was a perfect example like that. Like she was hurting inside and she couldn't like express that properly until someone stopped her and like let her know that it wasn't her fault, or like it doesn't make her any less of value because she didn't get. It's pretty much like what Sean was kind of elaborating with, you know, Sakura's arc overall, and so she became a much better person overall because of it. And you know, knowing that they might end up just still being friends at the end of the day, or like maybe, you know, maybe she'll find someone that she really connects with in the future, or maybe she'll do even better as a single Pringle as opposed to like trying to seek out a relationship, because maybe this time like she can actually go forth not caring about what other people think of her for her looks and stuff, and just like continue loving herself and just doing her own things and being like the busybody because she loves doing that, not because like she feels that's her designated place.
Yeah,
friends, I appreciate you having me on. I really have to actually jump to another event, so I love all of you. Have a good rest of the show.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Ellie, you have a favorite?
Yeah, I said Ishikawa.
Did you? Okay, I can remember.
Yes. I love Remy too. I just love that she speaks about herself in the third person. I think that's hilarious. And I started doing that ironically for myself, and now I feel like I can't stop.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Oh my god, Remy's so fun.
Yeah, I think out of all the girls, I definitely like Sakura the most, and then for the guys, either my favorite is either Miramura or what's his name, Shindo.
Oh
yeah, Shindo is such a good character because like he was like really the one who really opened up to becoming friends with them in middle school, and he was a starting point where once when Miramura went to high school, that's when he met Hori. You know, so it's a trip that Hori and Shindo were the ones that kind of like opened up to him, basically, and like kind of like almost saved him in a way. You know, and I really like that about both of them as characters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, you pretty much just said exactly what I was gonna say. Like those two are my favorite characters as well, especially Izumi. And I was gonna say Remy was honestly my least favorite when I first met it because like when I see one of the pink hair anime girls that act all very cute, they tend to be a little antagonistic, and that's kind of where I kind of got that vibe from her. But she did eventually kind of grew on me, especially with the arc with Son Goku. When like I've always thought like I always thought when her talking in the third person was kind of odd, but actually when she did it in that episode, it was like she grew on me. Like she was like, you know what? Okay, she's not so
same here.
Yeah. She wasn't so antagonist. I thought maybe she's actually like Mel said, like she knows a lot more than most people do. So she really grew on me. So I definitely respect her for that.
I'm not gonna lie, when I was showing like my debut episode to my parents, it was funny because my mom was just like when she saw like when Remy was like standing behind Sengoku after Hori was like, ask Ayasaki, like I handed the reports in, and she was like, ah! And it's like my mom was acting like how everyone else would react in that the whole situation.
Yeah,
so it's like, why did she have to apologize? Because she didn't do anything wrong. Like she wasn't guilty. Yeah, it's like analyzing that whole situation. But you know, it was an earnest mistake. Like they were just kind of really. We're all dumb at our own points, but you know, she did own up to it eventually. She didn't know at first that she dropped that specific report, but so I can understand like why she was really shy at first about owning up to it because she maybe didn't know she was at fault at the time. So I guess I can understand what her thought process was. But eventually she did become like one of my favorite characters because yeah, she's not the ditzy airhead that people think she is. Like she enjoys that kind of mentality, but you know, there's a lot more to Remy Ayasaki than most other people think.
Yeah.
Especially most of the boys, like they often just see her as just a pretty face and like nothing else, the beauty to someone else's beast. And like, yeah, like, knowing that she also heard all that stuff really does like paint a bigger picture because it means she's aware of how other people, especially how other guys see her, and it's just like paints a vivid picture. Like, you know, she's not the dumb person you think she is, dude. Like she knows that you treat girls like this, and the moment she found out that you liked her, she was like, eh. Oh man, I love that scene especially because the indifference was just my god, these characters are so fleshed out and I love them all.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So what was the most challenging scene for you to dub?
Okay, most challenging, I'd have to say the scene where Sengoku has to admit the reason why he's apprehensive about going to Remy's for Christmas. That was the scene that definitely had the most screaming to it, and just like having to like, naturally channel all that. Because for the most part, he is a very, very chill guy, but like he does have his moments where he just kind of has to fly off the handle because of something very, very major. But this was technically the most major moment as far as like most scenes are concerned. This was actually the most intense for him because he was scared out of his mind. Like he didn't want to go. I don't want to go. Like don't let me be there with all the mantises. That was difficult in the sense that I had to kind of make sure I was doing that scene right without hurting my voice, but everything turned out perfectly fine. It was a lot of fun. It had a lot of challenges to it, but I'm really proud of how it all turned out.
Allie?
I don't know, because I really only had 3 scenes to dub. I don't know that. I think probably the most challenging, just technically, was the one where I'm giving my speech to Yuki, just because there was a lot of words and a lot of mouth flaps. And then I also had to do the younger version of myself and then go right back into the older version of myself. So I think just technically that took a while. But yeah, I didn't have a lot of time in the booth for this show. So I think just that one, that was definitely the most words and the most changes that I had to do within a short amount of time.
Emily?
Hey. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, I'm kind of in the similar boat as Allie. Because like my character, yeah, Sota mainly. I mean, most of his scenes were, you know, his role is kind of to be cute and sweet, but one of the harder ones was the one where Hori gets sick, and just because that's a different side of him we see there, right? He gets a little fussier and a little more adult, and most of his role throughout the show was that he just has to he's kind of adorable and just kind of sweet and happy, right? And so seeing that, bringing that side of him out where he kind of becomes Mother Hen and has to get her to lay down and get her to relax was a little tougher.
Alrighty. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, Allie, you have to get going right now, or?
Yes, I do. Gotta head to another rehearsal, but thank you guys so much for having me. It was so great to talk to you, Belle and Emily. And let me know if we all are doing this again or anything, or if you just want to hang out and be friends. That's cool too.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Love you, definitely. You're awesome.
Okay, it was so great talking to y'all. Thanks for having me.
Have a good night.
Bye. Thanks everyone in the chat. Y'all were so sweet. Bye.
Bye, Allie.
And I'm actually going to have to step out as well. I have a script deadline tonight, so.
Yeah,
that's probably just cut it short there then.
Yeah, but as Allie said, I so appreciate you guys having me. This has been so nice.
We're really glad to have you here. You guys are awesome.
Definitely.
And talk to you.
Yeah, thank you. It was really amazing to be able to talk to all of you here. It was a blast.
Yeah.
I actually
really
I was so excited.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It was so awesome to finally get to talk with you for real, Emily.
No, we have not talked face to face. Yeah, or really voice, have we?
Well, not in terms of a call or anything like that. So this is the first time, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's so good to meet you face to face.
Wonderful. You are an elegant lady, if I might say so myself.
Why? Thank you.
I didn't expect that your natural speaking voice would be so elegant. Oh my goodness!
I do not think of it as elegant at all. But
please don't be humble. Don't be humble, dearie. We all know. We are all thinking it. So please just express how we're all thinking. Oh my goodness.
Well, you guys have a great night. I really appreciate it again.
All right, thank you too,
Emily. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Emily.
Bye.
Bye.
And then there were 3 of us.
All
right. You want to finish up these questions, or are we going to be wrapping it up?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, we got only I think 3 more questions or something like that, and that's pretty much about it.
Okay, then I can just wrap those up.
All right. If you could say one thing to your character, what would it be?
Oh damn! Okay, that's hitting me hard on this one. Let's see. One thing I guess, what could I even say that most of the other characters don't even get to say? Because, you know, I'd probably say something along the lines of something Remy would probably say. It's like, don't be afraid to acknowledge that you're weak. Because just because you're not the strongest person physically, that doesn't necessarily mean you're the weakest person overall. Essentially,
Yeah.
it's like, own the fact that you have your own strengths. Like, he's a very intelligent person. He's a very resourceful person. And he takes the leadership role when no one else wants to. And that ultimately makes him a much more reliable person than someone who's just like totally all brawn, no brains. Toru. I love Toru, but like, let's be real here. He cannot be in the student council even if he tried. It's like you kind of need
That's
someone
fair.
like Sengoku to pretty much reason that, and he's also like the most knowledgeable when it comes to relationships and stuff. Like he's somehow become the relationship expert
Yeah.
with no
experience,
effort.
like,
Yeah.
or,
Great.
yeah.
He just spitting the truth, and everyone's just like,
This is that natural gift. Yeah.
that's a gift. Like it really shows like he's very composed and understanding of the things that he talks about. Like it's something very resourceful, and a lot of people can imagine, like, see, this is why many people are friends with this guy. He's not here just to fill a position. He actually believes in the greater good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That,
definitely.
and I also imagine, you know that episode where it's like so that scene where he had candy in his pocket, and I was like, what
Yes.
the hell are you doing with candy in your
Yeah,
pocket?
exactly.
It's like, so Shotgun had to like give me the idea of maybe it's like a political tactic in the school, like it's just to like gain him some favor, and I'm like, that makes sense technically speaking, but at the same time, does that fall in line with Sengoku's character to like be that like much of a manipulative person? Like, I mean, it was a joke at the moment, but like, would he do that to other people?
Yeah.
I thought to myself personally, he's basically Remy's candy dispenser.
I guess it's one of those kind of cheeky moment that he's probably gonna have like every now and then, but it doesn't overall like give him like detriment his character in any way. It's just one of those kind of funny cheeky moments. But yeah, it was still a nice thing to see. Is like when he takes some serious characters in filler and then they just act all crazy. It's just that kind of thing. But it's always fun to watch, to have these kind of like more dynamics for that character, even though it's not very seen very much.
Right.
How do you prepare your voice for acting?
Well, okay, I'm surprised that this is actually the more simpler question out of all of these. All right, well, essentially for me is I basically do vocal warm-ups, tongue twisters, lip trills, vocal scales, just making sure that my voice is warmed up before I get to doing a recording session, because if your voice is still dry and your diction is very terrible at the moment, it's gonna make for a complicated situation trying to get into character, because the most essential thing when it comes to voicing a character is that you have to the audience has to understand what they're saying ultimately. And so when it comes to recording, especially when it comes to anime, because you're kind of timed with the lines that you're doing, like each word kind of has like its own beat because you're following the lip syncing. So you have to make sure like what you're saying is eligible. It's like you're alliterating what you're saying properly so that people understand what you're getting at. Because remember, like most people who watch dubs most likely don't have the time to really read subtitles all the time, or like they probably can't read subtitles. So it's like you have to be able to provide a service for people who would rather listen to their medium while watching it, as opposed to just like having to read it over and over again. As much as I love anime and even like watching the kind of like watching the sub at times, sometimes you just kind of want to watch it, or like if you're doing something in the background, you can just do something. Like for example, I love drawing, so maybe I just like want to, maybe I just want to listen to the anime while I'm doing the drawing. And it's just like, if I've watched it before in Japanese, I just like want to listen to the English version, because like it's akin to like an audiobook with visuals at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would like do that all the time, just like listen out. Another thing I was actually gonna mention, like how you kind of like to prep your voice and try to match the lip syncing of the character. And I'm kind of thinking if you're playing a character that's like actually sick, like he has a cold or whatever, and you happen to have a cold, would that like be more convincing for the character? Like, would that be a little more helpful? Like, I'm sick, this character's sick, it should like all mesh together very well. Like,
okay, so in a way, you can technically see that, but the thing is, if you're trying to voice a character while you're sick, because I've done this before, it is not a pretty sight. Let me tell you, you have to be mindful of your own health, because if you're sick as a dog and you can't even talk at the moment, it could damage your voice. Like, you can actually hurt yourself if you're sick at the moment. Like, it's not something that you should risk. Like, even if you feel like it sounds really cool at the moment, or like if you think it might help you in the long run, you're gonna get better eventually, and like your voice is just gonna go back to normal. So if you were able to do a voice when you were sick that you can't do naturally, then it's gonna suck, because you're not gonna be able to do that voice anymore. And so it's like, A, wasted opportunity, and B, you're probably hurting your throat the more you do that. Like, you could just learn naturally through like coaching and other means, just like continuous warming up and just exercising your voice over and over again to like get the range that you want, as opposed to like hurting yourself physically. Because it's better to like do something and be able to like not hurt yourself than to just like get it how you want it and just like ultimately feel like you can't talk for a few days.
Yeah,
that's understandable. Yeah,
it's kind of funny when you say all this. It reminds me of the episode where Shu, when he gets sick and he has like a little bit of a sore throat at school, and like he's so always loud and energetic, but like the girls tell him to like they just gotta go, and he doesn't say a word, and like he even like cuts off what's her name, the younger girl, the freshman.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, she's trying to tell him something, but he like stops her, and and like he just walks away. Like, immediately I thought of that when you were saying all this, and I was like, huh.
Oh, that's a perfect example. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my god. Yeah, because like, thankfully, so it's not that much of an issue from the comfort of your home, but back in the day, you know, when people had to go to the studios to record for certain projects, it could be a very dangerous thing to do, because you could get other people who are working in the studio sick, or you could contaminate the equipment you're working with, like getting your germs on there, because they have to disinfect that stuff. They really have to like constantly clean their stuff to make sure no one gets sick. And it's better to just like call a sick day and just like reschedule your session, as opposed to just, you know, coming in when you're not feeling really good and like endangering other people working there, because that's not a good sign. That doesn't reflect very well on your end. Like, if you're not feeling well and you're kind of coming in at your worst, because now you're gonna potentially get other people sick, and it's gonna hurt other people in the long run. That ultimately hurts the production.
That's true. That's true. Next question. If you could voice any character on any show or cartoon, what would it be and why?
Oh my god, I knew this question was coming up. Hang on. I am scrolling through my Twitter right now, because I was anticipating this question, by the way. And let me tell you, I made myself a mood board for certain characters that I've always wanted to voice.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah. Dudes, let me tell you, every voice actor has several characters that they want to voice, but depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Depends on the directors, depends on the studios, depends on if, you know, you're living in the areas as well. Sometimes, well, back in the day, most likely, because I doubt that's going to be that big of a problem nowadays with remote recording, especially. But, or, you know, depending on the contracts too, like that could also be a big thing, because some characters are on like a huge contract that lasts for years, so you most likely could just like voice this character for a good decade or so. So kind of like depends on that too. So a few characters that I have in mind, some of which are they've either never had like it's like one of them either doesn't have like an English voice, or some of them like we haven't seen them in years. So if you gave me the opportunity, please. Okay, a few good examples. Oh, okay. So if you want to see the mood board, let me actually link it to you guys.
All right.
Definitely.
All right, so putting it in the chat. All right, there it is. So a few examples like Sonic the Hedgehog, Knuckles the Echidna, N from Pokemon. Several Mega Man characters, by the way. For example, I remember a while back when I was like early into voiceover, like I auditioned for the character Chad from Mega Man Battle Network. That audition makes me cringe nowadays, but but you know, the voice I was proud of. The acting and diction, not so much. No. But that is definitely a character who, if you gave me the opportunity, I would just die to play. Like, there are several characters that I would just love to just voice if given the opportunity. And if you put me in Mega Man or Sonic the Hedgehog or Castlevania or Pokemon or you know, like the bottom for example, the show Witch was a show that I used to grow up on.
Okay.
And so it's like, if they rebooted the show and they had to get like a new cast, then I'd prefer if they got the original cast back and they just like, you know, continued from where the original series left off. But if they had to reboot, so I'd kind of like to be given an opportunity to audition. It's one of those things where it's like, if the opportunity presents itself, please. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm begging, but please. I kind of want an opportunity to be in Mega Man or Sonic or even Pokemon, especially. Pokemon, especially because like there are so many dubs, like depending on which property that's being because it's like there are like those new animated Pokemon shorts that you often see each time on the official Pokemon channel, that like each of them has like a different dub at every time. Like, for example, Pokemon Generations, Pokemon Twilight Wings. It's like those short mini series that like have their own different productions at each time. So it's like there's always a new chance for a new actor to play a different character. Like even if you played one character in like the main Pokemon series, you can play a different character from a different Pokemon entry.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It's really interesting, and it's like
that is.
If you gave me the chance to be in Pokemon, I would cry. I would cry because Pokemon is my childhood. Like, Pokemon is childhood right there. Like, give me the chance to be in a childhood franchise like that. You would be making my life complete. I would die happy there at least.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, I was like, I feel like they're doing a current Sonic the Hedgehog series right now. I'm pretty sure there'll be another one in the future. They've done so many Ninja Turtle shows.
So many.
Like I'm pretty sure they'll do another one of that in the future. Mega Man will probably be another one. I was like, man, you never know, you know, and Pokemon is still going on.
Yeah.
You know? So,
you have a lot of chances for that,
Yeah.
I was actually gonna say, I brain farted. I was gonna say something regarding it was like either Ninja Turtle or something like that, because I was gonna say Ninja Turtles, like, yeah, the voice acting's been great, but the quality of the animations has just gotten worse over the years. I don't know if you guys noticed that, but like,
I wouldn't say that though. Like, I guess it depends on the individual, though.
Yeah, it's just like the newest one. It's just they look very like paper, like boxy. It just looks weird.
It has an interesting style, but as far as like the actual animation, like the fight choreography and everything.
Oh, it's great.
That is boss. Like, oh my god, that is so good. Like, that show looks good where it really counts. Like, the style, it's not everyone's taste. I'll be fair, but the animation quality. Oh yeah, no, there is no knocking that. Like,
no, you're right.
And the thing is, like, Rise of the TMNT wrapped up on its own time. So here's to finding out what the newest TMNT series is going to be.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say, like, since you brought up Pokemon, like, if you would like to like possibly voice a character in Pokemon in the future, if they came up with a character for you specifically in Pokemon, what Pokemon would you want?
Oh, like I've kind of thought about this actually, because it's like my heart goes to the water types because I'll always choose the water starter first. but it's like I want it to be like a mix. It's like I want to be like that kind of. I was thinking to myself, like, if I could make my own Pokemon character for an animated series, it'd be like someone who kind of like it'd be like a gym leader who kind of like what Blue from Pokemon used to do, where it's like he didn't have like a set type that he used. It was like a mishmash of like different types. So it's like you never knew what to really expect. And like that was actually a really sound strategy when you think about it. Like as a gym leader, that is actually really brilliant. So having like a major character who like doesn't pick a specific type, but like overall is very, very fluid when it comes to the choices of Pokemon they choose. Kind of like what Ash usually does. It's like he doesn't pick a specific type. He just kind of
like rotation.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a go with the flow sort of thing.
Yeah, sometimes like you would rotate. Like if I'm playing on a Pokemon team, sometimes like I don't want to use this Pokemon. I'll kind of rotate it, put it back in my box, and then use this for certain
situations. Exactly. Yeah, it's a cycle. Like essentially, you're trying to understand like what you want to use the best in certain circumstances. It's like you're essentially using the more strategic approach when it comes to Pokemon, and that's actually what really separates most people in the Pokemon world. It's like some people kind of have their own types, others are actually more experimental, and those kind of offer the most interesting like opportunities when it comes to the parties that they can have. And it's like if I were to voice a Pokemon character, I would especially want to be that kind of, like a Pokemon loving sort of person, like, the kind of person that favors Pokemon over people, in all honesty. Like N is one of my favorite characters in the series, like mainly because of that, because he's not a bad person at all. It's just that his views might seem very skewed in the long run, and like that's what makes him and ultimately he chooses the side of good, like after finding out, spoilers, after finding out his dad was a manipulative sociopath who just like wanted to twist his values to kind of become the ruler of the world. And it's like, poor N, like God, like if you're not like one of those kids that doesn't have a dad, like your parents are usually like the biggest monsters.
The only exception to that was like in Gen 3 in Pokemon, where your dad was a gym leader. That's like the only time you're
right. Yeah.
That's the only
way to have a dad in Pokemon. That's weird.
Yeah,
it is actually.
Oh God.
The only one I can think of too. The only one I can think of is not just Gen 3, but also in Gen 3, May's father, the professor, was also like that was also his dad too. Like that's the only time you'll ever see a dad in Pokemon is in Gen 3. Not just the antagonist, but that's the protagonist, but for May as well, because the professor is her dad, or vice versa. If you
depending on like which player you chose. Like, okay, that's really interesting, and I wish they kind of explored that more. The only time I actually got to really see a kind of like a parent-child sort of dynamic going on when with one of the good guys was like. Yeah, okay, so those two gym leaders, the Steel type and the Rock type in the Sinnoh region.
Yeah.
Was one of them named Bruno and the other one was Rourke and his dad?
Rourke.
So Rourke and his father.
Oh, you're right. They were related. I think they were father and son. You're absolutely right.
It was really interesting. We got to see more of that in the Pokemon anime than we really got to see in the games or anything else like that. And I thought that was cool. Like I like the idea of like a father-son gym leader sort of dynamic going on. It's like they had different values, but ultimately they still love each other and they still have a fascination with fossils that binds them together. And it was like, why don't we see more of that? Like, why don't we actually get to see more like cool? There are cool dads out there, but it's just that not that many dads in general in Pokemon.
Yeah,
there isn't.
That sucks. Like I want to see that. I want to have that in a Pokemon universe. Just as like you have a good dad that's watching over you, just like making sure that you're okay and all that stuff. Like, can we have that, please? I want to see more of that. It's cute. Like, because like the worst villains in Pokemon are the abusive parents.
You're not wrong.
That's messed up when you think about it. Oh my god.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
That was the last of the questions there. We've been going.
Oh really? Oh my god.
Yeah.
That was about like 2 hours. We went over a little 2 hours there. quite a while.
Quite a while, but it's been one of the best 2 hours I've ever had.
It was
So
great.
That was
awesome having you.
amazing. Like I loved answering these questions and talking with you guys. This was so much fun.
we're so happy to have you here. Absolutely,
Yeah.
man.
Some people have been posting questions in the chat.
Oh, they have. We can answer a few if you want.
Okay, let's see. Okay, question
see.
for Beth.
I'm
Would you
scrolling
ever
up to-
cosplay one of the characters you've ever voiced? Okay, that's depends on the character and the aesthetic, and if I feel confident in myself to really pull that off. Because in some situations, that's most likely never going to probably happen. In certain cases, like I don't know if I could really pull that off. Nah, but
That's fair enough.
I'd want that, but like it depends on the character. If I love their aesthetic enough, where it's like I'm willing to risk that.
That's fair. Other question for Hooba Gooba.
Hooba
if a
Gooba!
if your character from Horimiya were to come into the real world, what would be the first thing your character would do with you?
That's an interesting question, huh? He's a good boy though, so I can imagine just like if he could he would probably just like ask me to help him organize certain stuff, just like make sure like all his files are in line, and like you know what, if he ever gets bullied by someone, I'd probably stand up for him in that case, because while you know what, we boys, we got to stand up for each other. But you know what, in terms of like veracity in terms of like silver tongues, though, I am much more proficient when it comes to my silver tongue. So
Yeah,
I got your back. If you were a real person, I would have your back. Like
straight up.
Oh my god.
Are you guys planning to do another on One Take Two? We actually are. We're planning on the 9th of October. That's when we're trying to do another one of like a part 2, kind of with some of the members of the cast. So let's see.
Question for the host: how does it feel to host a panel, and we'll be doing another one with the cast and Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid? Ooh, I hope you guys do that.
We're actually we're going to be looking into doing the Dragon Maid cast. We're looking forward to that if we could try to pull that through. Absolutely love this because like we've mentioned before, like with you off before we went live, it's been a while since me and Ivan has been on our Take Two channel, and like it's been a while, and this is our first go coming back, and like it's a hell of a way to come back to. We haven't this panel, and absolutely loved it. I was super nervous going into this.
You know what? We're all dorks here. So there's no need to be afraid of her.
Or not. If anything, this was more than we could ever ask for. Like I loved every single second of doing this with all of you. So you know what? This is probably the best way we could have came back.
Absolutely, yeah. Because voice actors, at the end of the day, we're still people here. We like to geek out. We're all dumb here. We like if there is any time a voice actor likes to act like they're above being like every other nerd on the planet, they're lying. They're either not engrossed in nerd culture as most other people are, to the point where it's like they probably don't enter communities, which is normal, or they're a liar. They are probably they're probably acting like they're high and mighty just to keep up the facade.
Probably.
We're all nerds here, dude. Don't pretend. We're not that special here. We're all into nerd culture here. We're people here too. We have to do our own stuff. We all have to buy groceries and just walk outside once in a while and get the mail. We all have to do our own daily deeds. So let's not pretend we're anything better than that. Like we have our rights and we speak about them, but we are not. We're not that holier than thou. Come on.
Of course so. Yeah.
I think this question is more for me and Ivan. It says if we're gonna do a review on Horimiya. I would like to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We kind of already gave most of our thoughts here, but I would love to do a video on that, just giving more of our deep thoughts on the show, because I, again, 100% absolutely loved it. Like how Ivan said earlier, it's like one of his top 5. It has to be one of my top 5 as well. Like I absolutely loved it. It was so good.
Yeah, I would 100% love to do a review on this. We'll if we have to reiterate what we said before, then we'll do it. We'll go into deeper, but I actually do want to do a review on this just to show like we'll say a few things, but like this show has so much more pros than it does cons. Like 95% pros, like 5% cons. But it's highly recommended if you're an anime fan. I promise you. Like if you love Dragon Ball Z, I promise you're gonna love this one. I promise you.
Right. Like you don't always have to watch something with action and blood and gore and profanity to really enjoy a show. Like it can be something as lighthearted, but at the same time really cuts down on the important themes just as much. Like it can be sometimes subtlety can really make for an even greater story.
And this is the perfect example of it, 100%.
Yeah,
absolutely. Because if we're gonna be honest here, most of these slice of life stories most likely have a better story than most of the shonen anime that we watch. Let's not pretend here. In terms of storytelling, not every shonen anime has it that good.
There's plot holes in that.
Yeah.
If you're looking at life stories, you don't really have to deal with a lot of plot holes. I mean, it's just you know where this is gonna go. It's just how do you approach it, and how you make it unique. And I think Horiyama definitely does that very well. Because you're 100% agree with you there.
Yeah, there are times in Dragon Ball Z where I just kind of like tune out here and there because like how ludicrous it kind of gets.
It does.
Okay, so King Zevin, what is your greatest wish that you want to come true? Being in an LA production, that much is a good start. Like getting into Funimation, life goal right there. But continuing that to LA studios, hopefully getting into like a video game, like an anime themed video game that's like on consoles and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that right there. That definitely. It's kind of like a franchise like Danganronpa or Zero Escape or something like that.
Yeah,
dude, that is making the dream come true.
Yeah, I feel like video games are blowing up now more than ever, and like especially with like storytelling. Yeah, so that would be definitely pretty big right there. Said that the question was also for me and Ivan as well, and I would have to say for me, my biggest wish would probably be for me to be able to make content like this full time. That way I could continue doing what I love to do, being able to meet amazing people, interview them, or like hang out with my friends online and make great content with them. I think that's what I would want. Anything most of all.
That's kind of pretty much where I want to be too. Is like like I don't really have a set goal, but it's like 'cause I'm mostly been going with the flow lately. But I do want to get somewhere regarding this kind of content because like I'm a huge artist myself. I like to draw, I like to sketch, I love animals. So those are one of the things that like I like to do. Like I like to paint, I like to draw, I love animals. I want to travel the world to see things. So that's one of my biggest wishes too. You know what I mean? But when I started YouTube, it was mostly just a hobby, but it grew to so much more than that. Then I would like to see how far I could go with it. So those are my wishes.
That is a good wish. Oh man, but if we're gonna be honest here, okay, if we had to expand past voiceover, I'd also like to be recognized for my artwork as well, like potentially like designing certain characters for certain shows, because I love drawing with all my heart. I went to school for artwork and like design, like graphic design, all that stuff. And
yes,
I like to pride myself on like being like a multifaceted artist in a way. So being able to like explore more opportunities like that is the ultimate dream come true. Like outside of voiceover.
Yes, I share that sentiment 100%. I love to draw any little thing. Like there's some things in arts I want to draw. Like I never done pottery. I never done like bladesmithing or anything. I'm like those are all artistic stuff that I would love to do. You know what I mean? If I can explore those facets of art, I'll be happy because I love art. One of the only subjects I was ever good at. I mean, I was good at other subjects, but art was where I was at. I've done a lot in college with Photoshop and everything. I didn't have much training with it, and I still killed it. I still aced it, so that's where my heart is.
Right?
Yeah,
right. It's a lot of fun, like doing a lot of editing.
It really is,
especially like with the digital aspect. Because with digital artwork, I get to do a lot of things that I was so nervous of doing with like actual like hand drawn artwork. Because with digital artwork, I get like a greater sense of like actually coloring, shading, lighting, and all that other stuff. And I've noticed myself like because when it comes to hand-drawn artwork, I've been like drawing every day of my entire life essentially. So it's like when I went to school, it helped me learn a lot of like actual techniques that helped me in the long run because I used a lot of what I learned in school to like help me in like my personal artwork. Like I even use like many of the techniques I learned, like for example, like sketching out the sketching out the stuff before like making the final model of certain things. So it's like ultimately you take what you learn from the real world and like apply it to your digital artwork, because when you enter in digital artwork, you're essentially self-taught, but overall, like the more you keep doing it, the more you're learning in the process. And it's just it's so much fun.
Definitely. It really is. Yeah.
Artwork's alive for me. Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
So is this technically, I'd say this is technically the last question so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's it like doing ADR dubbing? It is freaking awesome. Oh my god. Dude, it's one of the coolest things I ever got to do. And I only got to like really fully experience it this year, because last time I actually got to do like ADR anything was back in 2018 when I was still like fresh into voiceover. Like that was the first time I got to do a Walla session at Funimation. I got called in by Tabitha Ray at the time for Hanebado extras. And I was so scared. Like, oh my god! Like I was doing, because back in the day, Walla sessions meant you had to be in the same room with several other people, and so and like doing the whole timer thing, like that beep beep beep, like it's just, oh man, that was my first experience with ADR. So, and I was in the studio. I was in the studio at the time, so that was scary. That was a lot to really think about at the time. And oh man, but you know, it did give me like a good understanding of like how it worked. But then last year, late last year, I took an ADR workshop with some friends of mine at the time. So I got to learn a lot about like the basic fundamentals of ADR. And so like I got to actually practice it, and they said I was a total natural at it. And like by the time I actually got into the Horimiya, I understood like how everything worked at the time. So it gave me a good chance of like really prepping myself up this time, whereas 3 years ago or so I wasn't really in the mindset to really go about it professionally, because I prefer doing it from home as opposed to in the studio, because I'd rather not have to like drive 30 minutes to the studio every single time I have to record for a character. And what if I had to do Walla? What if I had to do Walla and I have to go there every time? Like, you know what? I'd rather just like do that from home, because at least then it's like, okay, session done. Now I can just like drink some eat some chocolate or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? I can treat myself after that hard day's work, and I didn't even have to leave home. That is beautiful.
Straight up. That is.
I would never trade this for the world. I got myself a professional microphone right over here. I'm not gonna trade that. Like I don't want to step into the studio unless they really, really, really have to make me do it. Like, and that's only if they really, really, really give me several hours to work there.
That's what I was gonna say too right now. I was curious on how some of you guys did it. I was like, how you guys do the recording, because you know of everything going on in the world right now. That like I was wondering if you guys actually go into a studio or do you guys do it from home? You know, so that's one of the things I was actually very curious about. So like hearing that most of you guys actually went to the studio, that was actually very interesting. I was like, oh dang, okay, that's like I wonder like how that all went about. But that's also pretty cool too that they actually had a studio for you guys to go record, you know, more properly, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I imagine because of COVID, like it's like I imagine you have to do it more from home now because of the COVID situation. Okay.
Yeah, and so like most of us who kind of like set everything up, you know, who've been like doing indie stuff, like just kind of recording from home our entire careers, you know, we were kind of ahead of the curve, just saying. Like we kind of knew how the game was played. So watching some veterans kind of have to struggle with the idea of having to kind of rework their entire closet spaces and all that jazz just to make sure that they're able to sound good. Oh wow, such an alien concept, huh?
You guys foresaw this coming.
Yeah, well, yeah. Now I can verify for a fact that I've been doing this the entire time I've been voice acting, and it's like the most expensive. So here's the funny thing: it's like when we kind of had to like mandate recording from home. I pretty much purchased my audio interface, the current one I have right now, the SSL2 audio interface, and My biggest purchase to date right now is my current microphone, the Sennheiser MKH416, which is one of the microphones they often recommend in studios. So
Okay.
it's something they often say is adjacent to the Neumann, which you will 99% of the time like see in studios, like for voiceover related inquiries. So you know what? I am perfectly fine where I am right now. I do not have to go to a studio, and thank God, because it would be cool going back to the studio to just do some recording, because at least then you get to like physically hang out with some of the people there, just like chill, have fun, all that stuff, because you get to have a chemistry with them that you wouldn't exactly have if you were all the way back at home. But I'm kind of an introvert like that, so I kind of prefer working from home, because it kind of, that way I can just have the script on my computer on ones. Actually, okay, have the video playing on my computer, have the script on my phone, and it's just like reading over here, then there, and then there, and then there, because in the studio it's pretty much like a dark room, and like you're seeing the script here, and then it's like the video over there, and it was like that also added to the anxiety I was feeling at the time, because it's like God, can you imagine that feeling of just like
that would be kind of nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sure if I had more experience in the studio, that would have like eased me into it, like when it comes to like ADR. But I'm glad I got to learn while working from home, because at least, especially with Source Connect and all that stuff, I know what programs that they use and like how to really access everything before the studio even like happens. So that way I can prepare myself, especially with other studios, because there are times where clients might ask you to use Source Connect and all that stuff, and you have to be proficient to a certain degree to like continue like getting work and just like making sure you get everything set up. And so you don't look dumb when you don't have everything set up. And it's like, it's better to like enter Source Connect early and then just like have everything set up as time goes on. Like, it's better to be early than late, I'd usually say, because I'm not a fan of better late than never, because it's better early than late.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Man, but to condense the answer, ADR is a freaking blast. Oh my God. Like this is easily like one of my favorite things I've gotten to do in voiceover, and just like I want to do more of it. I want to do more of this in the future. Like I've gotten the chance to really do several things in ADR as of this year alone. Like, just getting to be like a major recurring character in Horimiya was the biggest step for me personally, and I'll forever always appreciate that, honestly, because
100%.
it's led me to other things that have just like built me up even further. It's like I've been in shows like My Hero Academia as Ending, and as I gotten to be in The Saints Magic Powers Omnipotent as Damien Galt, and I gotten to provide extras in several shows, and it's like I'm still getting the chance to really try out for different shows if given the opportunity. So people, when you receive auditions directly from like the client, it's a sign that they believe that you have the potential of like getting the opportunity. Like even if you don't book it, then there's always a chance like they might still like your work and they might reach out to you in the future, because sometimes maybe they might, in anime, like there's the possibility of like them reaching out to you without even needing an audition, because that's happened to me before, by the way. So there is no shame in just like trying out, and even if it doesn't work out, then you gave it your best shot.
Yeah,
exactly.
Wow, that was a longer answer than I was expecting. My God.
It was great. It was a great answer.
Yeah, it's all good. All right, I think that's about a good time right there to wrap it all up.
Ducky then. Oh my God, we went 30 minutes on me alone.
Yeah. It's all good.
It was great, man. It was worth it. 100%.
All right, but everyone, for those that are still watching in the chat, thank you all so much for sticking around. And we're asked if we will be able to do a panel with Himato. I'm trying to pronounce it right. Umaru Chan. The cast from that.
Umaru Chan.
Umaru.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I'll have to wait and see. We'll see if we can try to pull that off.
We'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. And
You have anything else to say?
No, I'm good.
Well, Belle, thank you so much for sticking around. I really do appreciate having you on here. It was amazing chatting with you.
Same.
Again, absolutely loved having you on, and the rest, everyone else that popped on. Like, it was amazing. Absolutely loved it. And I was super nervous.
Being here, and I really appreciate getting the chance to really speak with you guys and getting to answer these questions, because this was the first time I've ever had the chance of really like talking about it this in depth. So, getting to really spill my guts like that kind of felt really good. Not gonna lie.
We loved it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's good. And we'll 100% love to have all of you back on as soon as possible, because this is one of the best times I've ever had recording with actors. Seriously. So really, I can't wait to do this again.
Just know we're all people at the end of the day, and if we do something stupid, then it makes you feel a lot better.
Yeah. So guys, again, as we always say, thank you so much for joining in. If you guys have any other questions or comments, please, you know what you gotta do, leave it in the comment section down below. Put on post notifications so you don't miss what we do. Like, comment, share, subscribe, all that other good stuff, and please follow this lovely gentleman here. Follow his Twitter, and it's gonna be on our description of this video. And we'll see you guys on the next video.
Later, everybody.
Stay awesome, everybody. Peace.
Take care, everybody. Peace.